Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. Welcome, everybody, to a new month. Welcome to a new week. Welcome to the first Monday of a new month. It is June, and we are back. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Hot Mic here on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com on the first day of June 2026. That means we are officially now halfway through the year of 2026, which is crazy to say that out loud. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am Dom Izzo, host of said program. Hope everybody had a dynamite weekend and enjoyed the weather wherever you were, whether you were in Minot, whether you were in Jamestown, Bismarck, Fargo, Grand Forks, of course, our friends over in Minnesota enjoying a great weekend. We were spread out pretty thin this weekend. I don't think there's any doubt about that, whether you were observing the Class A softball and baseball tournaments in Minot, whether you were in Jamestown for B softball or B baseball, Bismarck for soccer, Grand Forks for tennis. We had a little bit of it. And if you had nothing to do with North Dakota sports, then I'm sure you had a dynamite weekend watching Wemby and the Spurs win Game 7 on the road against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we will have a new NBA champion for the 8th straight year. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit, because we now have our championship series set for both the NHL and the NBA beginning tomorrow night on WDAY. Both of them, the Stanley Cup Championship and the NBA Finals, both to be decided on our airwaves, which is pretty cool. Not great if you're the 10 o'clock news. I will remind myself of that, especially with hockey, because you never know if we have an overtime game when that may end. But it's pretty neat. We're going to have the championship series with those. So before we get going today, I did this at the end of our broadcast on Saturday night in Jamestown. I'm going to do it now because we can, and I'm going to, because who else is going to do it, is a shout-out to our engineers who made the last 3 days, and actually I'll go back to the last 2 weeks, happen. Because what we were able to do, whether it was the 3 days at State Track or the 3 days last week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, is no small feat. To be able to have separate broadcasts going from 4 different cities all at the same time and without any massive glitches or hiccups, like every broadcast started on time. You got to see everything streaming-wise there as well. That's pretty darn cool. There are major sports operations, and I'll point this out yesterday. If you were watching on ABC, on WDAY, the Women's College World Series had massive technical issues. There was some power bump, they lost power in Oklahoma City for the Women's College World Series, and they were scrambling. Live television, especially live sports television, something is bound to go wrong. That's why it's live TV. It happens on our show, unfortunately, all the time. It's out of our jurisdiction or out of our hands to help it sometimes. But to say it went about as swimmingly as it could is a testament to the people we have here and to ensure us that our broadcasts are going to happen. So I just wanted to tip our cap to do that to start the day, because they did an awesome job, and to all of our staff that was positioned wherever they were, as I mentioned, in those specific towns, that was fantastic. I was watching Saturday before I left for Jamestown. I had the end of the Class A softball championship between Williston and Dickinson, which was a crazy game. Williston won that. I'm streaming in my car. Hopefully the state police don't arrest me on that. The Cheyenne South Class A baseball championship game. We'll have more on that coming up later on in the show. I was out in Jamestown, so I'm watching the Kindred Central Cass game. We had it on, though, as I went back over to Jack Brown Stadium for our game. And then, obviously, we had our own roller coaster on Saturday with 2 separate rain delays, and we didn't get out of there till after 11 o'clock Saturday night. But the labor of love, that's why we do it, and hopefully you appreciate it as well for able to watch, because these championships had been sporadically on television in the past, maybe Class B baseball, never softball, maybe occasionally Class A baseball, but not all at the same time. So if you wanted to watch soccer, you could. If you wanted to watch baseball, you could. If you wanted to watch track for the 3 days, you certainly could. So I just wanted to do some back patting here and back slapping for the first couple minutes of the show. Now on to the matters at hand. A lot to get to today as we start June, which some would say things will slow down. I would beg to differ on that. I think things actually might even ramp up even more between now and the start of the football season. Officially today, we are, 89 days out from NDSU's first football game, so 87 from UND. It'll be here before we know it. Vikings training camp right around the corner to wish away the summer. I don't know if we're ready to wish away the summer for the Twins yet, but after we sat here last Monday, the Twins had just swept Boston, right? Had a great start to the road trip, this 10-gamer. Then split the first 2 games of the White Sox, but they're 4-1 to start the 10-game roadie. And then the wheels came off because they lost the last 2 games in Chicago, and then they ran into the juggernaut that is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mind you, the Pirates came into the weekend just a game over 500. They leave now comfortably 4 games over 500. Let's show you what happened yesterday at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, where Brandon Ashcraft is the starter for the Pirates. He turned into Doug Drabeck yesterday. Granted, he might be one of the best pitchers of the National League right now. He was pretty darn good yesterday. He struck out 11 Twins batters over 6 innings of work. Pirate offense got going, already up 2-0 as we play in the third. Nick Gonzalez at the plate bashes this home run off Zebby Matthews. We'll get to the Twins pitching in a minute, because they're going to be looking for arms all over town here. It's 4-0 Pittsburgh. The hit parade continues. It's 7-0 now when Henry Davis, no gloves, comes in with a 2-run double. It's 9-0 Pittsburgh. Brooks Lee was the lone offense for the Twins yesterday. This in the 6th inning hits a home run to right. He actually ended up having 2 home runs yesterday, number 7 and number 8. That off Ashcraft made it a 9-2 score. This off the bat of Trevor Larnach ends up being the final out of the game. Pirates sweep the Minnesota Twins. 9-3 the final. So after a pretty decent stretch there for the last 2 weeks, now it's gone the other way. So as you wake up this morning, the Twins have lost 5 in a row and yet are still in 3rd place. Because the Royals have lost 6 in a row, the Tigers have lost 4 in a row. Tells you where things are at right now in the AL Central. They go on that road trip after a 4-1 start. They lose the last 5, so it's a 4-6 roadie. They're back home to start a homestand tonight with those White Sox that we just saw last week. Now, what has transpired with this baseball team over the last 5 days? Nothing great. Bailey Ober gets put on the injured list, so he's done, at least for the next 2 weeks. The team releases Simeon Woods Richardson. And again, on the surface, when you look at stat-wise, he did it to himself. He's 0-7. His ERA was north of 7. It would not have been good. So I don't know who they start now going forward. We already know that there's no hope in sight. Pablo Lopez is out. You've got Joe Ryan. I mean, thankfully he goes tonight, right? After that, I don't know who they're turning to. Ober is out. Taj Bradley is back. Zebby went yesterday. This is where they're at now. It isn't pretty, and it's not going to get much better. This is what we have talked about going into the season, since the season began. I mean, I'm looking at their actual pitchers that are on the 26-man roster now. Right? You've got Taj as a starter. Zebby started yesterday. Ryan goes today. I don't know who else they're calling up here, finding off the scrap heap that's going to start for this baseball. And it's June 1. We still got 4 more months of this season to endure with this baseball team. It ain't pretty right now. And the last 5 were not. I mean, Pittsburgh handled them. You look at the scores over the weekend, and I know there was a 10-9 game, and that was a game actually the Twins were ahead. Lost 6-5 Friday, 10-9, and 9-3. I understand there's 2 one-run losses, but frankly, they weren't in those games. Woods Richardson, by the way, 0-7, 7.74 earned run average. If that doesn't get you either demoted or released, I'm not sure. And if you're getting demoted by the Twins or released, that tells you how bad you are as a pitcher right now, because they could take anybody as a starter. That's where they're at. So, new series starts tonight. Again, we were just hoping be relevant until the Vikings start camp. That might be a bridge too far with the White Sox, or with the Twins, I should say, as they play the White Sox coming up tonight. Now, last thing before we get going. If you weren't into the NCAA baseball tournament this weekend, you might have been the last one. And I will give ESPN props for this. We talked about it on Thursday's show when we were out in Jamestown. With Mike Scogan and I did this. With the proliferation of the amount of available TV windows that ESPN has availed themselves to show more college baseball. And it's been really good. The product has been outstanding for a long, long time. I think people are finally just waking up to the fact of how good the players are at this level. What we had this weekend, though, I saw this online and I thought, well, there's the next preposterous thing that someone will say to get someone to retweet it and get someone like myself to talk about it on the show this morning. But then I sat back and thought about it a little bit more. I'm like, okay, it's still outrageous, but it may not be wrong. And the tweet went as follows, that the portal has affected basketball so much that it's taken away the Cinderella moments and the craziness of the opening weekend of the NCAA basketball tournament. We've seen that. We talked about it in March where we had no real Cinderella, and if you're going to throw High Point at me, again, I'll throw you back at you that High Point has a $5 million NIL. They're not a mid-major. What if I told you now that it's been replaced by the college baseball first round? And that's not to say that there's not mid-majors losing great players. North Dakota State is a prime example of that. If you look at the teams that have advanced on to the super regionals, I think there's at least 4 of them that have former Bison playing on it that were on last year's Summit League tournament team. But what happened this weekend is just insanity. We had numerous teams lose. Let's show you what went down. We'll start top overall seed UCLA. UCLA lost all of 6 games during the regular season, but they lost on Friday. So they were in elimination game yesterday. St. Mary's walks it off. Bottom of the 10th, the top overall seed. Second year in a row that the number 1 seed is out in the first weekend. It was Vanderbilt last year. It's UCLA this year. That wasn't the end of the craziness. Let's go to Lawrence, Kansas. The Jayhawks, who the Bison played last year in the NCAA tournament, they beat Arkansas yesterday. First time ever Kansas baseball will play in the last 16 as they beat the Razorbacks yesterday 13-10 in an absolute bonkers game. Let's keep it going. More hijinks. West Virginia and Kentucky played an absolute gong show of a game. This 2-run home run from West Virginia gives the Mountaineers an 11-9 lead. Mind you, that's Paul Schoenfeld. They're playing at home, but they're the visitors for this particular game against the Wildcats. So remember, Kentucky has last ups in this game. And mind you, West Virginia scored 5 runs in the 9th to take the lead, including tying the game in a balk. The The final out to center. West Virginia forces a winner-take-all game later today in Morgantown. Winner gets a spot in the final 16. Just a wild affair there. We're not done. How about Cal Poly? The Mustangs break them up. They're going to the Super Regionals. They won yesterday 5-2. They beat that St. Mary's team that beat UCLA. So Cal Poly comes out of that regional with UCLA there, and they are going to the Sweet 16 in college baseball. Remarkable. Congratulations to that. Again, mid-majors having success in college baseball. Last but not least, how about Little Rock? The Trojans facing Jacksonville State. Here's a regional that went sideways. That the final out. Little Rock. Arkansas Little Rock is playing in the final 16 as they beat Jacksonville State yesterday by the final count of 6-3. That just a snippet of what went down in the NCAA baseball tournament. Now, we still had some of the heavy hitters move on. Ole Miss is moving on. Landon Koenig, former Bison pitcher, is on that team. North Carolina, one of the top seeds, they're moving on. Of course, they've got Jake Schaffner, who was the Summit League Defensive Player of the Year last year at North Dakota State. They're shortstop for 2 years. They're moving on. So it's not like some of the Oregon's playing on. But you've got some definite mid-major success here. Now, today, if you're looking, okay, we don't have any championship stuff in hockey or basketball, I present to you today, you have 7 baseball games today, all winner take all to move on. So 9 teams are in the Sweet 16. The final 7 today starts at 11 a.m. You got Florida State, St. John's, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma, Milwaukee. There's our last hope of the upper Midwest. Milwaukee was 5-22 in the Horizon League to start the year. They already beat Auburn once. Auburn came back and beat them in a game that ended about 1 o'clock this morning. So now they got to play again today at 5 o'clock. Troy, our friends in the Sun Belt, play Florida. Florida's the 8th-ranked team in the country. That's a winner-take-all game. I mentioned Kentucky, West Virginia game. We'll have another matchup of that. And USC and Texas A&M will play again tonight. So if you're looking for some quality live sports, I got it for you tonight with the college baseball tour. It's been great, and we got a little local flavor sprinkled throughout it. I'll be tuning out. As soon as Hot Mike's done, I'm going to have the game on because we got games going all day. Good stuff there with the college baseball tournament around the country. We got a great show coming up for you here today. A great one to get off our week here to start the month of June. Here's our guest lineup, which is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. We'll start it right away, 9:30, with a guy that just won a state championship for Fargo South. He's on his way to Texas A&M after next season. Fargo South junior Caden Nelson will join us on delivering the Bruins a state championship, the first in 15 years for Fargo South. That's coming up at 9:35. Jeff Kolpack will be back with us at 10 o'clock. We'll get Kolpack's thoughts on the recently released TV schedule for North Dakota State football and unpack that. We now know 10 of the 12, at least, times, dates when the Bison will be playing football. We'll do that at 10 o'clock. And we'll wrap it up at 10:35 with one of the great players in our region on the gridiron. Aiden Green will join us from West Fargo Horace, who announced yesterday he's heading to Maction. He will be playing football at Western Michigan University. He will join us at 10:35 after a first-team All-State year for the Broncos. He will join us coming up at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Monday morning. We'll take our first break. We come back, we'll salute our best of the weekend from championship weekend across North Dakota. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns on this Monday. We're back right after this. Best of the weekend time. We do it each and every day on Monday at around 9:20. A little late today, but that's all right. It's pretty easy for us here to salute best of the weekend. Just pick your veritable championship that we had over the last couple days. Let's start in Jamestown with softball. So Central Cass was the reigning champions of this event. I called that one last year, the Class B softball championship in Fargo, and they had a majority. When I say majority, about 95% of that team back for 2026. They were the favorites to come into this event. As it turns out, they had to have an absolute gong show of a game Friday night just to get to Saturday. They played Beulah in a game that was off the rails, end up going 11-10 Central Cass walk-off in the bottom of the 7th with an 8th grader, McKenna Holand, to get the game-winning hit just to get Central Cass to the championship game. And then, of course, who they end up playing is their arch rivals in Kindred. So that was the backdrop for the Class B softball championship on Saturday afternoon. And as luck would have it, we would have a dynamite game. Here's how it played out on Saturday between the Vikings and the Squirrels. Central Cass would jump on Kindred early. I was out there. I was a dynamite crowd. Fantastic crowd. Not the best setting, I'll just say that as well, for these two teams. Squirrels would build a 5-1 lead as they steal a run there. And this is another one. They steal a run here because nobody called timeout and able to plate another run. Highlight of the game may have been Aspen Preen, who is a fabulous softball player, comes up here on her birthday, no less, and delivers this bomb. Now watch this closely, folks. Out to right. It's nearly caught. You can see the exchange of emotions there because the Squirrel fans are right behind the right field wall. That ends up being a home run for the Squirrels. Watch this again, how close this was to actually being maybe a highlight catch of the year. I mean, this is millimeters away from being a great catch and then slips out of the glove and ends up being a bomb. This was the final out, and I mean, it was pouring when the game ended, but they were not stopping it as Central Cass beat Kindred 10-2 to win the Class B championship. Second straight title for Scott Koss and the Squirrels. I know Sam had Scott on last week. Just adds another championship to the pile. Congratulations to Central Cass. Lots to celebrate there. That just continues a dynasty. They lost in the title game in 24. They come back and win it in 25. They win it again in 26. They did the hardest thing to do, which is to win when everybody expects you to. Awesome stuff there. Now let's go to Minot. Minot was the site of the Class A baseball and softball championship. Quick shout out to Williston going extra innings to beat Dickinson to win the Class A softball championship. The Class A baseball title, and I mentioned this on Friday's show, we had all East teams advance to the semifinals. If you don't think the power right now in Class A baseball is in the East, I got another thing to tell you, because it is. After years when the West dominated. I mean, there were years when Dickinson had unbelievable teams, or Century had unbelievable teams. Bismarck had some solid teams. Mandan. Right now, it is the teams in West Fargo and Fargo South. How about the Bruins weekend, where they knocked off Bismarck in the opening round? They beat their rivals in West Fargo in the semi, setting up a matchup with the defending state champions in Cheyenne, who got through Horace to get to the title game thanks to a huge bomb from Hudson Dinger on Friday. That was the backdrop for the matchup between South and Cheyenne. And here's how it played out. The Bruins got some dynamite pitching, some timely hitting, and were able to take advantage of, frankly, some mistakes. That's what happened in the Class A title game, what happened in the Class B title game. South, mind you, came in as the 4 seed out of the East. They were the 5 seed in the East region tournament. So it wasn't any automatic thing that South was going to make it there. But they did the old baseball axiom. They hit them where there ain't. And then they had this guy pitching. Texas A&M commit Caden Nelson, who wasn't feeling great on Friday. Well, you wouldn't have been able to tell on Saturday. He was dealing. This, the final out. And how about Fargo South? First time in 15 years, the Bruins bring home a state baseball championship. I was thinking about this as I was driving to Jamestown on Saturday when the South won. of the last time Fargo South had an individual, not a co-op state championship. They won in boys soccer, actually, this fall. But prior to that, and then South Shanley, and that's what I'm saying, take that one out. South Shanley won the boys hockey title in 2023. When's the last time a Fargo South team won a standalone state championship? It's been a bit. If you want to say Fargo South winning the state football title in 2013, you may be right. Basketball hasn't done it. Baseball obviously hadn't done it. Softball hasn't done it. There might be a soccer in there prior to this year. And I apologize to all of our soccer viewing listeners and viewers. It's not on the top of my head. I can tell you from the big sports, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, I know has been co-op. It's been a long time. So congratulations to the Bruins. That one's got to feel pretty darn sweet. Same color combo also feels pretty sweet in Park River this morning. Congratulations to the Aggies, who had a absolute dominant weekend at the Class B baseball tournament in Jamestown. They come out, they hammered Shiloh Christian in 6 innings on Thursday. They then knock off the 4-time defending state champions in Thompson on Friday, setting up Saturday a matchup with number 1 seed Kindred as the Vikings came in maybe as a slight favorite. Park River, though, proved they were the team to beat. This is what they did on Saturday. Through the raindrops, because we started in the rain Saturday, Tucker Omdahl got things started with a blast down the left field line. That scored 2 runs. And Park River never looked back after that. They would add another RBI double here off the bat of Ben Schatz. That made it 3-0 in the first inning. I mean, Kindred was completely rattled after that. The Vikings committed 5 errors. That is one of them there that led to another run. Then they had this guy pitching. Jake Solsing was amazing on the mound in his final high school game. The Mayville State commit had 11 strikeouts. He was the 3rd straight Park River starter to have 11 strikeouts in a game. That the final out. The Aggies win a 4th Class A or Class B championship in the last 10 years. They hadn't won one since they completed their three-peat in 2019. But they win the Class B championship 9-2 on Saturday. They outscored their 3 opponents 29-4. We talk about a butt kicking. That's what happened out in Jamestown this weekend. Congratulations to all the teams that won state championships. That's just a snippet here of our best of the weekend here on a Monday. We'll take a break. We come back. One of the guys we just featured in Best of the Weekend, Fargo South's Caden Nelson, will join us on ending the Bruins title drought and what's ahead next, including the SEC. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Welcome back, everybody. Off and rolling here on a Monday morning. Just visited here at our Best of the Weekend. You saw that Fargo South ended a 15-year baseball title drought with their victory over West Fargo Cheyenne on Saturday afternoon in Minot. One of the stars of the Bruins joins us here. Their standout pitcher, Caden Nelson, to start our week on a Monday after bringing home a state championship. As I mentioned, first time since 2011 for the Bruins. Great to see you, bud. Congratulations. First, give me the bus ride home. What was that like on Saturday night?
The boys, they were pretty energetic, you know. It was a long weekend of baseball for sure. But the boys were having fun, you know. When you do something like that, such a great feat, you know, 15 years in the making, it was just such a special feeling after the game. You know, we had all that support. We had people that came from Fargo and made the long journey up to Minot, which was great to see. And that just spoke of what it meant to everyone. And I think that just led into that energy after the game, which was a fun bus ride home for sure.
Now we can unpack the weekend here and the plan. So give me, was it your idea, Coach Sillerud's idea, that, hey, I'm not going to throw until if we make it to Saturday? Can you outline what the pitching plan was for you going into the weekend?
So this will be a fun story to tell for sure, because we went back and forth on what we should do. It was a group decision, and we ended up going with Evan Felber game one, which he was great, throwing strikes, able to finish his game in 74 pitches, which was really effective, and we got that win over Mandan. But then it was actually supposed to be me game two against West Fargo, but I went down with heat exhaustion that morning, and we were 30 minutes away from game time. And I had to tell Coach Molden, I'm not ready to go, unfortunately. Wow. And he agreed. He was like, we can't get you into the second or third inning. And, you gave all you got, and that's all you have. And we agreed, and we said, we have Carson Sheik behind me. And he was able to go, and he also pitched a great game, and it had me for the championship, so it just worked out.
So when did you start feeling like I'm not feeling myself?
So I woke up Friday morning. I got really good sleep the night before, travel and playing that first state game, just naturally tired. And then I got up around 8 a.m., and this will be a funny story. I got out of bed feeling lightheaded, and I unfortunately ran into the hotel wall on my way to the bathroom. And I then vomited in the bathroom, and it was a rough morning for me. And went right back to bed and woke up, and I just was lightheaded, dehydrated. It was unfortunate, rough morning, but was able to play that day, luckily, and did it for the team.
Holy cow. So tell me the rest of the day, like you think, okay, I'm just going to gut it out. I'm going to be all right after you got sick?
The plan was still to pitch that day. I was still mentally preparing to get ready to go, but my body was just telling me I couldn't.
Holy cow.
And I knew, and we had that discussion, what was best for the team, and what was best was for Carson Sheik to pitch that game two against West Fargo, which ended up working out.
How much are you just agonizing then through that game Friday? Like, this should be my game, and I'm not out there.
It definitely sucked for sure. I was, really eager to pitch that semifinal game for sure. But knowing that, Carson Sheik has been one of our best, if not our best pitcher all year, I knew I had trust in him. And I knew I could make an impact, and I made an impact at the plate, luckily. I was able to go 3 for 5 that day and get through that game, which, it wasn't just me. It was my teammates, too, who actually, were helping me throughout the day, recovering. Shout out to Mike Beaton for getting me some Pedialyte and some Tylenol before the game, our great athletic director. He's amazing, and he made the trip up to Minot, and he was right there to help, and that just speaks of the support we had this year.
That's fair. ADs do everything. They schedule games, and apparently they can rush to like a Walgreens and bail you out.
We got a great one. Yeah.
So, by the way, 3 for 5 with heat exhaustion is pretty darn good. I'm just going to tell you that right now. There's a lot of people that couldn't even get out of bed. You still go and do that. But so you score 11 runs. You end up winning. Yep. Obviously, you beat West Fargo. What's going through your mind Friday night after? Like, okay, I got to be locked and loaded because now I get to pitch the title game.
Yep. So we went back to the hotel and we watched the Horace Cheyenne game just to see who we were going to face. And I honestly thought we were going to get Horace, but Hudson Dinger stepped up and hit a big home run off Kason Borkart, which was just mind blowing to see. D1 on D1.
Right.
That was big, and everyone was kind of just sitting there in that last inning, just waiting to see what would happen. And we got Cheyenne, and that's what we mentally had to prepare for. And I hadn't pitched against him this year, but we did our research, did our scouting on him, and had a good report on him.
I think you visited after the game with Sam about Cheyenne had been kind of your guys' kryptonite over the last little bit. So did it seem fitting it was going to be them to play for the championship?
Considering they have won it the past 4 to 5 years, led by Jason Belkey, did a great job coming in. He has led that team, and they just always find a way in the playoffs. They're a really good team, fundamental. They're a young team too, so they'll be sticking around for the next couple of years. We'll see them in the state tournament again, if I had to guess. They're a great team, and it was fitting we would play them in the championship.
How did you feel going out on the mound Saturday?
I was definitely feeling the emotions for sure. Had a little jelly legs at times. Just the body was rushing with adrenaline, which was good. So that actually helped the sickness a lot. Definitely felt it a little bit when the blood wasn't flowing or the adrenaline wasn't there. But it was just it was a great day to pitch and play some baseball and win a championship. Did
you feel like you had your best stuff, or if you were to grade it, what were the quality of your stuff going into the game Saturday?
I thought my stuff was really good. Definitely missed a lot of pitches for sure. I ran my pitch count up to 116, which is it's a lot of pitches for sure. But no, we got deep into some counts, but I thought the stuff was there for sure. Henry Schrum called a great game back there. I always trust him, and I thought it was there.
Tell me the emotions here. You get the lead, so you're going to the last the last 6 outs, the 6th and the 7th. What's going through your mind?
The finish line's right there, but it's hard to, not jump to conclusions or think ahead. Yeah. So just had to focus one pitch at a time for sure in executing.
That last out, we saw the emotion. Now you've had 48 hours to process it, though. What went through your mind on that last out?
I'd like to say something went through my mind, but it didn't. The emotions, they were just great. That was no better feeling for sure. And dropping to my knees and just truly knowing that we did it and we did it for everyone. It's just it can't get better than that.
Fargo South, as you well know, is a pretty illustrious baseball history, but it's been a bit. What does it mean for you and your team to deliver a first title in a decade and a half?
It means a lot. Just building up this program ever since I've been here, and Carson Sheik and Hunter Geary and all those seniors, they had to go through some struggles. They weren't used to winning, and once me, Henry Schrum, kind of stepped into this program and kind of started to build it. We wanted this expectation of, hey, we're going to win and we're going to do our best. Okay, we're going to try and rebuild this program as best we can and just kind of change the culture. And we were able to do that. We made a state semifinal last year. Unfortunately, lost to Cheyenne, but this year we got them back, and we made that jump and got our goal, state championship. For people, Caden, that don't follow baseball closely around here, it may seem like you've come out of nowhere. You committed to Texas A&M, which I want to get to in a minute. But tell me about your rise for baseball and just when this all clicked for you. Yeah, it's always been there. The love of the game for sure. Just having that kind of mindset of, hey, I see all these great people doing great things in the baseball world, and I want to be something like that. And luckily, I was able to try and grow and build, and was lucky to find the weight room and have some great supporting staff around me to help me build myself. All right, so give us the backstory here on how Texas A&M came into the picture for you and the SEC. Can you give us that story? Yeah, for sure. So I went down to Marietta, Georgia, to play in the Futures games with I was with Caden Borkart on that Minnesota team, and there was just so many scouts there. They tell you there's every school in the country there, and they're not lying. And I had they give you 2 innings down there. Okay. They give you 2 innings, and my first inning was really bad. I walked 3, and I was all over the place. I was nervous, just didn't have my best stuff. But game 2, that's the game Texas A&M was at. I learned that after. And had a good outing, struck out a batter, and the stuff was there. And they got in contact right away, and August 1st rolled around, and there's a scholarship offer waiting for you. So just perfect timing, I guess. Huh? Glad they weren't there for game 1. They picked a good game to be at, right? Luckily, yeah. I got some attention from game 1 still, just, coaches looking at stuff and seeing all that, seeing how your pitches move. It's not necessarily your performance, too. They're looking at everything. They're looking for how you are as a person too. And luckily A&M was able to see me on day 2 and was able to bring out that offer. Was that a slam dunk when they offered? Did you think about it for a little bit? No, it was definitely not a slam dunk, just considering I didn't know what to expect on day 1. Yeah. I didn't even know if an offer was going to roll in. It's really just, it was mind blowing. When you have all these schools that text you on August 1st and you're just a junior in high school. Right. You're not even a junior in high school. Yeah, technically. And it's a hard thing to process, and I'm glad I took my time, and I feel like I made the right decision with Texas A&M. Was it overwhelming? Like, okay, here it is. Like, I just went here, did this, and now here everybody wants me to talk to them. Overwhelming is a good word for sure. Especially when you're just not really used to talking to college coaches. You want to make sure you say the right things. They want to hear the right things too. So you got to do your research before you even jump into a text or a call, and you want to make sure you're giving them what they want and you're giving them what you want to. Caden, I'm watching the NCAA tournament this weekend. I'm seeing SEC teams all around that are really, really good. You're going to be part of that here in the not too distant future. When you watch these guys, like, I'm going to be playing there? Yeah, I've been watching the College Station Regional, the one that A&M's in, and they got a big game tonight against USC. Hopefully they can get it done. But just seeing the environment and all the people that are there, it's gonna be a huge culture change for sure. Going from North Dakota high school baseball to the SEC, so that's a big change. But I feel like I'm ready for it, and I feel like even with another year to prepare, I think it's just going to be that much more special.
We know how basketball, football, I think recruitment goes. Did you get a chance to get down to College Station and see it before you committed?
Yep. So I went down in November and was able to catch a football game. It's actually the game they played USC, and they went down 30-3 at halftime. But what spoke of that culture actually was no one left.
Yeah.
There were still 106,000 people in that stadium, and they came back and they won it by 1 point. And that just spoke of everything. It's hard to look past the facilities, and everything's going to be mind blowing down there. Everything's bigger. But no, the coaching staff was great. I loved everyone I talked to down there, and it was definitely a perfect fit. Like envisioning where do I want to go to college, and I felt like College Station's a great place.
Are they looking at you at pitcher or at a different spot?
Definitely a pitcher,
okay.
For sure. I would love to keep hitting, but hitting is hard. It is. I feel like pitching's kind of just taken over a little bit. I swung it well this spring, but pitching's definitely where I'm going to succeed, I feel like, and that's where it's going to take me.
So we were visiting off air. We got a couple minutes here before you got to go. It's right into the Legion season here. You got a day off, and then you start tomorrow.
Yep. We got practice tonight, and then it's a game against West Fargo tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Jack Williams Stadium to open up the year. So.
That's pretty good stuff. My last thing, and you mentioned those two guys we've had on the show. We had Casey, we have Hudson on, and I'm so glad we got you on here to do this here today. But the level of talent that's going now in baseball in North Dakota, why has it gotten so good so quickly in your mind?
It's a really good question. Just the talent this year, from when I stepped in as a freshman, it was there. There was D1 talent. That was the Drew Eric year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's just people seeing people do great things, and that's what you want to do, and that's what I wanted to do too. I saw all these great people ahead of me, and I wanted to build myself, and I wanted to become that type of person, and not just baseball, but also these people are just great. Like, everyone's here to support each other. Everyone's so nice around here. Like, there's people willing to help. There's people willing to do great things, and that's what speaks about North Dakota high school baseball lately.
Did you leave a dent in that wall that you walked into?
No, luckily. I bet you Kobe Evelyn could tell the story better, because I was half awake. Tom, that was a rough morning, man.
I bet.
That'll just be a memory to tell. It was destined. I mean, it was unfortunate how it happened that morning, but everyone was there to pick me up, which was great. See, I just loved that.
Right, you have the best story ever. That happened, and then you still came back and pitched, and you won the whole thing, man. You've got that forever now.
Yeah, that's a great one to tell, and people didn't believe it either. I was like, I don't know why I would make that up.
Right? Like, why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense. It's totally right. I appreciate the time, bud. Thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations. Have a great summer, and we'll visit again soon. Okay.
Thank you, Dom. I appreciate it.
There he goes. Caden Nelson from Fargo South leading the Bruins to the Class A championship on Saturday with a dominant performance on the mound, battling through heat stroke, as you mentioned there, and that's nothing to mess around with. The fact that he was able to bounce back, he was still really good, as he mentioned, at the plate in their win over West Fargo on Friday. And that also underscores, by the way, we talked about this, playing on that turf, how much that elevated. I mean, it was gross Thursday. Let's just say it like it was 94 where we were. If you add the turf, that's another 20 degrees. That's a lot to deal with. And if you're not hydrating, man, you can have it go south real quickly. So glad to see he's doing okay, and clearly he was all right on Saturday for the win over Cheyenne. We'll break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Jeff Kolpack coming up in hour 2. Also, West Fargo Horace standout Aiden Green as well. Back on Hot Mic on a Monday morning right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Our thanks to Caden Nelson. That was a great story. You know, when we do this show enough, and you get sometimes a story like that. That's That's a winner. That's good stuff. So if you missed any of that, we'll podcast it after the show, and you can check it out. That was good stuff. Let's get a few emails in here before we wrap the first hour, get Kolpack in. I always love the title, You're Wrong. Hey, call you out on being wrong, but halfway through the year is the 31st of June, not the 1st. I hate to tell you this, but there are no 31 days in June, so I guess we're both wrong on that. My point is it's June 1. Let's see. Good morning, Dom. I just want to say thanks to all involved with the production and presentation of all the North Dakota High School athletic events, which we just had the pleasure of experiencing and witnessing. As always, thank you for a great job. Well done. Much appreciated. I appreciate that. I will pass that on to the appropriate people because I'm just a small cog in that. It was cool to be back calling a championship. I don't get to do that often anymore. Now doing Bison stuff, you take that away from the TV gig. So it was fun to call it a title game as we did, even if we had a couple hour delay on Saturday. Dom, who you got, Spurs or Knicks? Well, this was a controversial take on Saturday night. Once the Spurs game went final, and I was able to so our rain delay started at 8:32, I want to say, on Saturday night and less until 9:30. So I got to watch a good chunk of the second half of Game 7 on my iPad up in the booth at Jack Brown, and San Antonio was awfully impressive. I'll just say, first off, the Thunder did not play well. I don't know what Chet Holmgren looked scared in that game against Wemby. I think he looked scared the entire series, frankly, against Wembanyama. My heart will pull for the Knicks, and I'm not necessarily a diehard Knick fan. I grew up watching them when Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, that was the team that could never get through Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. Then they couldn't get through Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, the second iteration of them. They haven't been to the finals since 1999. New York is going to be insane for this. I'm picking the Knicks. I'm going to pick the Knicks to win, even though my head probably says Spurs. My heart is going with the Knicks. We can't wait. That starts Wednesday night, 7:30 on WDAY. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Jeff Kolpack waiting in the wings. We finally know the Bison schedule in terms of times and networks. We'll get Jeff's thoughts on that. A bunch of other topics we normally hit with Jeffries. We start hour 2 on a Monday. We're back after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo. It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2. I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
Here he is. He starts our Monday's second hour. His appearance is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. How's it going? Well, good. How are you doing? I'm okay. Thanks for swinging by. Guys, if we can get his mic on, that'd be great. You were positioned at the marathon, and I want to go there because you and I spent many a Saturday
many a Saturdays,
on the Fargo Marathon.
Yes.
Tell me about this year's event and how it went Saturday.
Well, so the youngest son ran it, and
Brant ran it?
Brant ran it, yeah.
That's right. How do you do?
Well, so I followed him on the bike. You know, I was the guy carrying the goo energy stuff and the wet towel and whatever. I should have brought some ibuprofen, but so everything
for you or him.
Yeah, so he's in Scottsdale and did this training. We mapped out the training plan, and he followed that to the T. Yeah. Everything was on pace about right around 4 hours for about 19:20. But there's no humidity in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. So I think that caught up to the young man.
How humid was it here on Saturday
Well, it wasn't
morning?
terribly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was more at the start because of the rain, but it still was a little humid. I mean, runners were feeling it, and you could see them in the last 6 miles. And so the last 6 miles, he was not a happy guy, cramping up. And I've seen that look before back in the baseball, hockey days when things didn't go well. Just that venom look. Like,
yeah.
So I'm just saying, hey, he finished. All right, it's a win.
Absolutely.
I mean, he finished.
Totally.
It's a win.
Totally
So
celebrate
yeah,
that.
we just we had a little discussion on that.
Would he do another one? Or was that it? Was that a one-time
It's a
deal?
wrong time to ask him, Dom. Wrong time. When your calves are like this, because on one of my marathons, the DC happened to be the last. I had the same thing. In the last 6 miles, it just you're shut down.
Yeah.
And you just want to kill somebody.
Well, that's awesome. You did it though.
Yeah.
He's in the small percentile of people that have run and completed a marathon. That's pretty cool stuff. So
Yeah, but it was fun. I mean,
awesome.
I biked around the route, and people out there were fantastic, just real enthusiastic. It's just not as many as there used to be. It's
I
just
remember
not
behind us here, A Street was a party scene when we get here.
It's just not there like it was. I mean, again, the people out there were fantastic, but it just doesn't have that juice that it used to have.
The winning time was 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
2:13.
blazing. That is fast for this course.
And where did he come from?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that the Ventures Endurance, which owns the marathon, I sent an email requesting, hey, do you have a performance list of the top qualifiers? I'd like to do a story on maybe the top qualifier. And the reply was, out of privacy concerns, we don't release that information.
Oh,
I'm going, okay. You don't want anybody... I got an idea. If it's such a privacy concern, contact that person and say, hey, can this guy contact you? But no.
Huh. So strange way not to get any
the mayor wasn't
publicity.
real pleased in my story last week with this group either. So we'll see what's going to happen.
We did this show how many years ago now? At least 3 that Mark Knutson passed. It was the day after. And we started wondering, both of us, frankly, the viability of this event going forward. It's been such a great thing for this community after 20 plus years now. 20 plus years. You hate to see it not happen. But
it seemed like it was pretty decently run. I mean, all the intersections were taken care of. All the aid stations were taken care of. Finish line looked pretty smooth to me. Fitz Kohler was back doing the
That's
mic.
good.
And
start looked good.
And so, like, from runners like my son, like from their perspective, I don't think things other than there's not as many people on the course. Yeah. I think it was just fine. It's just that, and the mayor brought this up, and I went in to do a story on the mayor. Like, this is his last time being part of this event as mayor, because he started as a city commissioner back in 05, 06. So he's been a part of this
since its inception.
So I went in to do a story on, hey, memories and all, and then he just turns it around and goes, well, this group it's been tough to deal with. What was his quote? They've been tough to deal with or something like that?
Yeah.
Not happy with the lack of local connection. There is no race committee.
There is none. Yeah.
There's no committee that I know of, and I couldn't find one. I don't think there is. Well, I'll tell you what, there isn't.
Yeah.
And
which we were worried about after Mark passed. Mark was the embodiment, the living, breathing embodiment of the race.
Right.
And if he wasn't there, because how many times would he tell us, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it? And he's like, well, if Mark doesn't do this anymore, is the race going to keep going?
Yeah, and the unfortunate part of his passing is he didn't get a chance or a say for a successor.
To pass it on. Correct.
Right.
Correct. And now you're right, because without having any local tie to it, it's just another race for these people that put it on.
Yeah.
And that's sad. It's too bad.
Yep. And USA Today company owns the marathon, which is used to be Gannett. They rebranded USA Today, and don't get me going on Gannett.
They've been known to gut any sort of media company they own.
The merch looked pretty good. I mean, so those are the things you look for on companies when it's all about the money truck heading back to corporate headquarters. Right. Where are they going to cut?
Well, and I hope that, because we had the great pleasure doing it. We televised it, I want to say 5 or 6 years that we televised it.
Yeah, when's the last time we did it? So it's the first time I've done the whole route.
Gosh, it might have been pre-COVID, maybe the last one. I think it was 2019 may have been the last time that we televised it.
And I was in the front pace car doing the on-the-field reports. So, this guy that won it, 2:13, just came out of lunar Apollo 12 from the moon. We don't know.
And the women's marathon winner is a teacher here in town.
Yeah, my old elementary,
That's fantastic.
Jefferson Elementary.
That's awesome.
Gosh, she was cooking too. I mean,
yeah. That's good stuff.
That was a good story.
By the way, keep up the Kolpack alma mater. How about is the former Fargo South Bruin baseball stud. The Bruins bring home a state championship.
Well, but back in my day, we didn't have high school baseball, so it was. I just got an email from a friend of mine that said, "You started." I go, "Well, not really." There was no baseball back in the day.
But right now,
straight to Legion.
How about that though? For South to bring home a championship, that's good for them.
Caden Nelson, what a well-spoken young man. I just watched his bit. He's going to do well.
Yes.
I mean, just even in life, if baseball doesn't work out, you just tell that those are the kind of leaders that really make good teams.
Yep. And he apparently can throw it pretty hard too. That helps,
he's
right?
mid to low 90.
He's all right.
That's not bad.
That's good stuff there. We have not had a chance to talk to you since the Bison TV schedule is almost officially official. Yep. What did you make of what the networks did with North Dakota State for this fall?
I think no surprises, and you're the more TV guy than I am, obviously. And you picked, 5?
I got 5 of them right.
Congratulations.
I feel pretty good about that. Yeah. Thank you. So
bracketology time Dom.
So CBS Sports Network gets the opener, which we thought, with Jacksonville State. I'm interested for the people that you talk to, friends of yours, the 3 kickoffs after 9 o'clock at night. How has that gone over?
I haven't heard much because I think we've done a good job of preparing people and warning them that this is a very big possibility.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't think it should be any surprise. I think there's a decent amount of afternoon games.
The home
I thought there'd be
schedule,
more just because Mountain West.
I did too.
Wants their games on all day.
I did too. There's a couple I was surprised on because I thought they would play at 11 a.m. and noon. If you guys missed my interview with John Sullivan from the Mountain West, we had that on Friday to go back and watch it, that they just didn't have the flexibility at Kolpack of playing at 11 or noon. But the home games right now are 4:30. We don't know. I think it's probably going to be a 2:30 kickoff for Fordham. 2:30 for homecoming, which is going to be a little different because we're used to 1 o'clock. 6 o'clock, so you get a night game with Nevada. And then 2:30 and 3 o'clock. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
I will say this. The game with Sac State, I know the time, but it's on ESPN, Jeffrey. That's a major deal. It's not the U. It's not even ESPN2. It's ESPN for that game with Sacramento State.
I don't know. So UNLV put out something that they have the most nationally televised games ever for them, too.
And they're obviously coming off a great year, and they're expected to be the team to beat in the Mountain West. And that game's a 6 o'clock Central Time kick in Vegas. That's perfect as well. That's going to be great.
Let's face it, though. It's going to take a year for people to figure out and navigate this correctly on how to go about this. And remember, every Tuesday, we are going to have a little story that will say, here's how to watch the Bison game this week. Yep. Every Tuesday.
Okay. That's good stuff because that will be helpful, I think, for people going forward. So there it is in breadth. I would say the last 3, we've talked plenty about the trip to Hawaii, but so they got to go to Hawaii, then play right away at home against Northern Illinois, and then a short week.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet
to go on Black Friday and play at San Jose State. That's going to test the depth there. The last 3 games of the season.
It's a travel gauntlet for
sure.
Totally
at the end of the year.
But these guys they preach themselves in this program forever on their mental toughness.
Yes.
And their toughness and all that stuff.
And that's going to be put to the test, I think, in the last 3 games of the season. But there it is in full, and it's going to be awfully fun to follow this. And I'm really interested now on the other Mountain West teams as well, how good they're going to be when they're playing. That's something that we're going to have to get used to as well. We knew you'd have the laptop fired up when we get after Bison game day and say, all right, we got Youngstown's playing here and SIU. Now it's going to be totally different because, somebody's playing, but not till 9 o'clock if we're going to watch UNLV and Hawaii play on a certain Saturday during the year.
I'm a little worried about McFeely staying up with the Hawaii game.
There's a lot of people I think worried
about that.
I think a lot of people are worried about
May have to bring
up.
some caffeine tablets at halftime.
Well, how are you for the Arizona game? Remember, Arizona was a 10 p.m. Central Time kick. That was a long day.
Dom, I'm a grizzled veteran. I can handle it.
We did Bison game day, and then it was 12 hours later was the football game.
Are we doing that for Hawaie? Do we know?
I don't know if plans have been cemented yet, but that 4 a.m. Hawaii might be a little different to do that game, that pregame show for that game. But to your point, I think there's a lot of people that may say, you know what, I'm going to stay up as long as I can and then DVR it and I'll catch what happened in the morning. I honestly believe it's probably a handful are going to do that.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
It's the only way they're going to make it to the end of the game. Because I know I texted my dad about it last week. Say, hey,
it's going to start at 11 his time.
Correctamundo. And like, he ain't going to see the start of the game, let alone the end of the game. That's just the way it's going to be. And then there's no more.
And that's 6 o'clock Hawaiian time. What if they did like an 8 o'clock game?
Oh my gosh. Well, and that's become though, and
Or is it 5 o'clock Hawaii?
Hawaii's 5 hours behind us, so it's 5. Yeah. But if it was earlier in the year, because daylight savings has already taken place, and daylight savings they don't observe on the island, would have been 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like if the game was in September, it'd been 11 o'clock Central Time kick. Think about that. That's just crazy. But my last point on this, when I was visiting with John Sullivan on Friday's show, I asked him about, because we used to joke about, hey, we got back from the Bison game. There's, USC's playing San Jose State. Now more networks are saying we want to play at that 9 o'clock or 9:30 window. We think there's a large amount of people that want to watch college football.
Yep.
That week, the Bison play Sac State. There are 7 other games happening at the same time. So it's not just NDSU playing. There's 7 other games that weekend.
Well, if you don't want to stay up, you can get a subscription to inform.com.
Yes.
You can read all our stuff about an hour after the game. It'll all be there.
And it'll be there in the morning when you wake up.
It'll be
no
there,
doubt.
yeah.
So, but I thought it was interesting that amount of games, it's not just 1 or 2 anymore. There's more going. And obviously there's more networks that want live sports. They want college football. I think the CW being as prevalent as it was for NDSU surprised me. That would be the one takeaway. They end up getting 4 games for NDSU.
And I think a lot of people just need to get well-versed with CW.
Yep.
I mean,
and it's over the air. It's not like it's some radical cable channel. If you can get it with your bunny ears at home if you have an antenna, or it's like NBC, CBS, and NBC. It's right there. So.
That's about the best piece of advice you can ever give. It's over the air.
Yes.
Get some bunny ears.
Right. That's the way to work.
Yep.
If you have a satellite or if you have YouTube TV, you can still get it that way. All right, let's break. We got a few other emails, couple other topics I want to get to with Jeffrey as he joins us on this Monday. We'll take a break. Hot Mike rolls on. Back on WDAY Extra right after this.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Welcome back, everybody. Back with Jeff Kolpack. Joins us each and every Monday. I got a few emails I want to get to, non-Bison stuff and a couple of Bison things. Dom, if there's time, could you ask Jeff what happened with Tom Hoagie this weekend? Looked like he was cruising and the wheels fell off Saturday and Sunday. That was at Colonial, which is his home track. Did not have a great weekend.
Yeah, he's been susceptible to having that one round where just things don't go well. I don't know specifically exactly. Usually your irons go awry, and then you're scrambling.
Well, it's coming off. He had a good PGA Championship, and then follow up last week. He was top 11? He had a good finish there, so he's been playing better heading into this past weekend.
I guess the best answer, Dom, it's golf.
Right now, I'm gonna see the up-to-date FedEx Cup standings, because we're into the part of the year where you got to start making hay point-wise. He's currently what did he fall a little bit? Yep, he's 72nd in the FedEx, so he's just outside the top 70. The top 70 get into the FedEx Cup playoffs, so he's got some work to do here. But obviously, there's time the next 2 months, and he's got a couple tournaments. The 3M here, he's always played well at. The one in Hartford, he always seems to play well. But it's been. I know you wrote about his decision to stay away from LIV,
right?
How much that paid off for him, how financially that helped him, even though what he turned down was a bucket of money. It ended up being the right decision in the long run.
Yeah, I went back to my interview with him in 2022 when he decided to shelve that contract that he was offered by LIV, and he wasn't sure that the management would be able to sustain itself, and he was correct.
Was dead on about that one.
And he was correct. But, my concern with him right now, he's played a lot of events in a row, and I'm concerned. My concern would be he was just wearing out.
Yeah, totally. Hey, Dom, it's unfortunate how much the Fargo Marathon has changed and that WDAY no longer covers the event. I proposed to my wife at the finish line of the 2019 half marathon. I remember that. We were interviewed by your crew. It was such a fun moment, and wish the race could get back to those days with the community so involved. Love the show. Keep up the great work. And that's, again, goes right to our point we're talking about, because 2019, if I remember right, was a pouring rain. It was nasty that day, but it was packed. We were out here doing the broadcast, and Ace, you wouldn't have known it was a downpour. It was fantastic. And Mark had he brought the community to it where it was ours. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it feels like it's ours anymore since they've taken over this thing.
He was always available.
Totally.
For interviews, whether it was January, February. I mean, he would get story ideas for us.
Yes.
I mean, he would literally, I think that was part of the submission. Hey, do you have a good idea? Do you have a story idea? Let me know.
Yep.
And so he'd tell me, hey, this person's overcoming this, running dedication to this.
The first guy I ever did a story on was, hey, this is his 50th marathon in 50 states.
Yep.
He tipped me off on that. We got that guy on the air, I think, during our broadcast.
So obviously that vein is just totally dried up with the out-of-state company that runs it.
And that's unfortunate, and you don't want to see it go away, because that was, again, like, I feel like it's ours, and it was in Moorhead too. You know, Mark was a Dragon alum, so we made sure MSUM was going to be involved. Concordia,
which it still is.
Right, Concordia was involved. That year when we started on the bridge, that photo should be plastered everywhere in Fargo. We were there. It was as memorable as going to be. I mean, the bridge was shaking that day with the amount of people that were on the Memorial Bridge coming to start the race.
There's nothing more, in my opinion, this is just me, but being a part of the start of a marathon is one of the coolest things.
Really, oh, man.
Because all these runners just put in their heart and soul, all the work for the previous 4 months of all that training. And so to speak, the hay's in the barn. They're like the bull getting out of. I mean, let's go.
I will say this: you and I did a live shot with you, 2015. I was running the 5K for the first time, and I was jacked. I hadn't run anything since my senior year of high school, and to be part of that, and I did that for 5 years. Mark spurred me to do that. I said that the day he died. Like, he was the reason that I did it for as many years. And it was
get out there.
But it was so much the energy to be part of it. And it took me a half hour to run 3 miles, but I loved doing it. It was fantastic.
Half hour,
35 minutes. My best time was 35. Hey, 35, like 35:13. And
I need to see proof of
And
this.
I still did the sports that night. So you got
wow,
that. Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. Athletic giant.
Unbelievable.
Dom and Jeff, is it possible to see where the eyeballs are actually tuning in from these late starts? I'm wondering what the West Coast, East Coast viewership splits will be. That's part of going back to our late kickoff conversation. There's no doubt, but you've got to also cater to the teams that are hosting these sites, right? Like, if you're San Jose, you don't want to be playing at 10 o'clock in the morning if it's noon in Fargo. You know what I mean? You want to actually have people go to the games that are attending. I think, obviously, there are way more eyeballs on the East Coast just because of the amount of population that is on the East Coast of the United States. But there'll be people staying up, I'd imagine, that live, east of the Mississippi River.
Yeah, and fans will get used to it. But you got to look at the big picture. You're in the big show. You're
Absolutely.
in the FBS.
Totally.
You got in. You got a ticket there.
Yipper. And those FCS games, and I was stunned that the ESPN took SIU Illinois State instead of
for the
SDSU UND.
Yeah.
They took SDSU USD, which is for the third straight year, but they didn't take the Jacks game coming to Grand Forks, which might be, I think, the best game on the Valley slate. If you're looking at it from, taking a 30,000-foot view of it.
That's the ESPN Plus stuff, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
They'll get on ESPN. They'll be on linear networks there, much like the Bison game last year with South Dakota State was. I can tell you for a fact, if the Bison stayed, Jeffrey, NDSU, Illinois State, which was going to be played here, ESPN would have snagged that up in a heartbeat after what happened at the end of last year. But your point is, and instead of groveling to get whatever scraps that ESPN was going to throw at you for a game or two, now you've got big ESPN for a game. Yeah, you're going to have to play it at 9:30 at night, but hey, you don't have to search for it. ESPN's on every platform available. You can get it. That's the difference now to what you're talking about.
Well, there's going to be a whole lot of education for all of us going forward. This starting mid-July at Mountain West Media Days.
Yeah.
It's just it's a whole new thing, and I'm just excited to see how we navigate this as both a media company, how fans do it, how the team does it.
Even last week with the announcement, I think there were people who were excited about that, about figuring out the schedule release, because we had never paid attention to it in the past. Because it may affect like the Bison Colorado game. Oh, okay, ESPN's going to pick it up. That's cool, but that would be it.
I don't even know if we did a story in the last several years on game times. I'm sure we didn't.
No, because it was automatic. The only time we wouldn't, if it was a night game, if it somehow got picked up, that'd be the only reason why we'd.
Yep.
Because you knew, well, it's 10. It's homecoming's at 1, every other game's at 2:30, and here we go. No, that's not going to be the case anymore on that. That, to me, now here's the next one, because this Wednesday, the Bulls come out with their schedule, which, again, there's something we would never pay attention to. Now we got a heck of a reason to find out, okay, what Bulls of the Mountain West playing into this year. It may not be the ones that we have come accustomed to in past. That gets announced on Wednesday.
Well, again, that's a whole new educational thing for us.
We had McMurphy on talking about that. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean if the Mountain West controls it, you don't necessarily have to go there. Like if they know NDSU is going to bring 10,000 people, they might go to a better bowl and location than Idaho because the Mountain West sends a team there.
You mean like the Frisco Bowl?
Could be. You just want to get back there, don't you? You just miss it so much.
I know.
I go back to Hutchins in a heartbeat if we can go back for that, no doubt. But that's the part of it. There's so many different variables to what you were just mentioning that, I'm still getting my bearings together. Like, okay, this is who to talk to about New Mexico, or here's about Wyoming, or San Jose State, or Nevada, or Hawaii. I knew Illinois State. We knew who to call up if we want to talk about Southern Illinois. All of this, that's the whole part that's new as well, that, for the next 80 some odd days, we get ready for the start of the season, is the ramp up of our own education on it.
And the head coach, he'll be more in demand now, certainly for media stuff.
That's right.
So for, all these, and one thing, so I now pay attention to all the different newspaper outlets, all the online outlets. I've been paying pretty close. And they cover this league way better than the outlets that cover the Missouri Valley in a whole.
Yep.
Just because of this, they're bigger newspapers.
Right.
They're bigger subscription bases.
And bigger cities, right?
And so the head coach, I'm guessing, will have to be available to these out-of-town, these other school outlets, probably on a weekly basis.
Correct.
Because Carbondale wasn't going to call Tim Paulsick.
No.
Youngstown was not going to call Tim Paulsick.
No.
Terre Haute was not going to call Tim Paulsick.
Las Vegas will.
Absolutely.
San Jose will. Reno will.
And they'll probably want access to Bison players, too.
Correctamundo. That's all brand new world that's coming here for everybody.
You like that word correctamundo, don't you?
I do. That's one of my favorites.
Did you invent that?
No, I did not. But
you should. You should trademark that.
That's not my favorite there. We got to go. Thanks as always for coming by. Appreciate it.
I'm just getting going.
No, it's that time.
Right.
Northwestern Mutual says a half hour, and they tap out on
Derek, I got to have a word with Derek.
That's as much as they can take for you there.
All right, good to see you, Dom.
Great stuff covering this weekend at the Fargo Marathon. Our thanks to Jeff Kolpack, who joins us each and every Monday at 10. We'll break. We come back. We'll visit one of the rising standouts of high school football in the area, Aiden Green, on committing to Western Michigan. It's coming up when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Monday morning. On top of everything that was going on this weekend in terms of the state championships that are being handed out, we had some football news to keep our eyes on. And our next guest made it official on where he's going to be playing college football. He's been a standout at West Fargo-Horace for the last couple of years for the Hawks, including their state championship team of a couple years ago and of a first-team all-state selection this past year. Aiden Green announced yesterday he's going to play football. He's being some action. He's heading to Western Michigan, and he joins us this morning to chat about his commitment to the Broncos. It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations. Give us the lowdown on Western Michigan and why that's the team for you.
So they were just showing the most love, and I felt wanted there. And they got great coaches, and they're even better people. And so I feel like it was just the right decision.
How soon did they come into the picture? Like, how long ago were you hearing from them, and what was the first conversation, if you remember?
So they invited me to come up for a spring practice back in April, and then that's when they offered me too. And then we had set up the official visit this past weekend.
What was, I guess, the reaction when they offered you? Like, okay, this is out of the area. This is not necessarily right around the block.
Yeah, I mean, moving away is not really a problem for me, but maybe my mom, she might be a little.
What sold you on it? Like, I know you said they showed you the most love. What was about their conversations of talking to you say, you know what, I can see myself going here?
It was mainly like the culture and like how to make you feel, and like obviously like the development. They got good developmental programming, and being able to come in and play right away. You putting that work in.
Describe this whole recruiting process of when I know you got your first offer a few months ago. Like, okay, someone thinks I can play college football. Take me back through the last few months and what this haul has been like.
I mean, it's been crazy. Blessed. Not too many kids get this opportunity to play at the next level. And really, when they told me like they want me at corner, so like all the schools they want me at corner, it was kind of shocking to me because like I never really played corner. It was my first year. So like I'm still new to it and stuff, but yeah, it's been cool though.
We're watching highlights of you at wide receiver. So how is that adjustment that okay, they want me to play a spot that I haven't played a whole lot at?
Yeah, I mean it's cool, but like I feel like I'm a good football player, so like I'll adapt to it. So like it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun.
So describe for this upcoming year now, getting ready. We're 6-7 weeks out from the start of fall camp of, all right, attacking corner even more for your senior year of this upcoming fall.
Yeah, I've been going to the field a lot, working on my corner stuff, just get real good at it. So then when I get there, I'm ready. So I've been working a lot, yeah.
What about this really excites you? Both are you both nervous and excited? Hey, this is a new spot, but I'm excited because it's a chance because people think I can play that spot at the next level.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not really nervous. I mean, it's always good in learning new stuff. For like football, it's just been kind of easy for me because I'm just an athletic kid. But like getting the technique and stuff, it should be cool.
Was football always number one, or was it another sport growing up?
Nah, it was always basketball growing up. Like everybody, like they knew me growing up, they would thought I'd be playing basketball. But yeah.
When did football start to win out in your mind?
Probably once I got to high school, like freshman, sophomore year.
What was it about it? Well, that said, you know what, I can see myself going down this path and maybe not basketball.
I mean, football is just fun, like competing and you just get to hit people. It's just fun.
Let me talk now about this past year. Obviously, you guys had a great year, complete freak show game of an ending. How much is that stuck with you? Think about it, or is it, you know what, we're on to 2026?
Yeah, we kind of move on. We don't really talk about last year that much, but obviously, like, it's still in the back of my head because, I didn't get a play in that game. So,
how frustrating was that to have to sit out?
Yeah, it was real frustrating just watching. Like, don't nobody want to watch. Like, you always want to play, so it was real frustrating, yeah.
Now, the expectation, obviously, for this coming year couldn't be higher. What do you make of that, of the expectations for Horace getting back on the field in 2026?
Yeah, the goal is always the championship. We think we can win the championship this year. We lost a lot of seniors, but we got some young kids that's going to step up. We should be good this year.
Knowing also, Aiden, that you yourself are targeted, like, hey, we got to make sure we know where he is on the field. How do you handle that on a week to week, and knowing full well you're going to get even more attention this coming year?
Yeah, I mean that's also a good thing too, because like that'll open up the run game because they gotta respect me on the outside. And then, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter, really.
When you see the rise of, you've been a front row seat to see what's happened at Horace. Tell me about that over the last couple of years. You guys building as a program to now where around the state people have not only respect, but know you guys are a pretty darn good football program. Describe that of you being a part of it almost from the beginning.
Yeah, it just shows, like, the work that we put in. Like when I was a freshman, won 3 games, I think, something like that. And then it just really shows the work that we put in, and like the coaches, like the stuff they're doing and helping us get to where we want to get to.
I got to ask, on now playing DB more, how much can your wide receiver skills or know where receivers like to go, can that help playing DB now?
Yeah, because, like, you kind of know, like, when receivers are going to break, you kind of know, like, the body language and stuff like that. So, like, it helps a lot, actually, knowing, like, receiver tendencies and stuff.
Like, are you tapping into your own mind, like, okay, I would cut here, and so this guy's going to do that? Is that something you have to adjust for?
Yeah, it's kind of just, like, you can feel it, kind of.
What is the most exciting part on playing defensive back? Is it either hitting a guy over the middle, breaking up a pass, pick off, or interception? Where is it in your mind?
Yeah, it ain't no better feeling than just locking somebody up and then catching a pick and then taking it back to the house.
that's the interesting part of playing that position, knowing there's only one football. It's coming. It's hard to gauge when the ball's coming. How is that on especially a defensive back where you might not only get a couple balls thrown your way the entire game?
Yeah. So they didn't really throw it. So I was just really just chilling on the backside. So I didn't really get too much action. So but when the ball's coming, you just gotta make a play.
How hard is that to stay engaged in the game, if you know what I mean? They're running it again for the 8th time. When am I going to make a play? How difficult is that to stay engaged in the game?
Yeah, sometimes you be real tired too. So it's easy to get disengaged, but you just always gotta lock in and stay focused because you never know when they could take a shot at you.
A couple last things here before I let you go, and I appreciate you doing this. What was the phone call like to Western Michigan to tell them you were coming?
So I committed at Coach Taylor's house.
No, wow.
Official visit, yeah. So he called us into his house, and we was meeting with him. He was like, "Where you at in the process?" And then I told him I'm gonna be a Bronco, and then that's what it was.
How was that reaction?
Yeah, it was cool. He was excited, yelling. He told everybody there that we got a new Bronco. So yeah.
How much does this change your calendar for this summer? Were you planning on doing a bunch of camps, or was this maybe ahead of schedule of when you wanted to commit?
It was kind of ahead of schedule. I was thinking later in June because I had some camps coming up. But yeah, so now I ain't doing none of those.
I was going to say that was my next question. Is that done now? And
yeah,
how
done, yeah.
How much does that change your summer? What do you got planned instead?
So now it's just all the high school stuff, football, lifting, and then basketball too. We got basketball team camps and stuff.
I appreciate the time making this morning. Congratulations on committing. Stay healthy this summer. We look forward to seeing you back on the field this fall, okay?
All right.
Thanks for the time. There he goes. Aiden Green joining us from West Fargo-Horace, the newest local commit that's going to be playing FBS football in 2027. So we mentioned Aiden on our best of the weekend. I want to say in January, I believe, what NDSU offered him. The Jackrabbits offered in mid-April. Western Michigan came in and offered him April 18th is when he got an offer from the Broncos. South Dakota followed shortly after that. So offers from NDSU, SDSU, Western Michigan, and USD, and he will play corner for the Broncos on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night in the not-too-distant future. But that is the latest here. We're talking here locally in 2027. Now, you've got, obviously, the 2 guys in Kindred. We got the 4 guys in Moorhead. We got Ben Henoch out in Stanley. We still have our guy at Fargo South, and Drew Kessel, and now Mr. Green going to Western Michigan. That's, dare I say, the greatest collection of high school football talent this area has ever seen. Can we just go on and say it? Because all of them are going to be playing FBS football. Some of them playing more than half playing Power 4 football. Because the 4 guys in Moorhead are. Henoch's going to Kansas State. We'll see what happens with Kessel, who's got Michigan and Minnesota after him. That's a pretty good haul for this area. And if that doesn't get you, I know it's June 1 and we've got Rib Fest coming up in the summer, but if that doesn't get you jazzed for the upcoming high school football season, then nothing will. Because all of those guys will be playing ball around here. And that's pretty awesome when I think about what Friday nights are going to be like this upcoming fall. Holy cow. Buckle up, because it's about as good as we're going to get. And there's some more out there. His teammate Brett Livingston is another guy who's getting a bunch of attention, who's all of 6'6". There's a few others that I'm sure that we haven't spoken of yet, or not enough of, that are getting sniffed around as well. So congratulations to Aiden. Appreciate it giving us a few minutes here this morning. All right, we'll step aside for our final break. We come back, we'll get you ready for a big sports Monday. A couple other emails to wrap up our show with and tell you about what we got coming up on the show tomorrow. Hot Mike wraps on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a Monday morning. Tomorrow, our guy Mike McFeely will join us. I believe we're going to have Velva State champion Anya Olson with us. If you missed what she did on the track, both this year and last year, you missed out on some history. I believe she's going to join us on the show coming up tomorrow. So looking forward to that. I got a couple things to share here before we get out. The official NBA Finals schedule is out, and we can show it to you here. This is begins on Wednesday. All the games will be on ABC on WDAY. It'll begin 7:30 on Wednesday for Game 1. Game 2 on Friday. They moved up a day, I think, to get out of the way of the U.S. men's national team playing in the World Cup on Friday the 12th. So the schedule's moved up a day. So we've got Wednesday and Friday, games 1 and 2 in San Antonio. 2 days off to travel. Next Monday is Game 3 at Madison Square Garden. And then June 10th for Game 4. Then a rare Saturday night NBA Finals game. Saturday, June 13th will be game number 5. Then June 16th for Game 6. And then June 19th will be Game 7 in San Antonio. Here's what you need to know for you media nerds and for our friends upstairs. You can keep that up, Ben, just so as I read this here. Inside the NBA will serve as the official pregame for the NBA Finals. You can bring the schedule up again, Ben. Thanks. With Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and Shaq. The games will be, the show will be on site. Draymond Green, for some reason, will be a guest analyst for games 3 and 4. NBA tip-off will be precede game coverage with a 90-minute pregame show, airing for us locally 6 to 7 on ESPN, and then 7 to 7:30 on ABC on all game nights. Here's the important thing for all the ABC affiliates out there, including us. Inside the NBA will generally begin on ESPN immediately following the conclusion of NBA Finals games. In the event of a Game 5 on Saturday, June the 13th, Inside the NBA will begin on ABC and then transfer to ESPN. We've had this discussion, and I say we, I guess me in the office here, over the last few days, especially with programming upstairs, because when is our newscast going to get on is the big deal. These games aren't going to end at 10 o'clock. We're going to be on late. I was, I guess, under the impression that maybe Inside the NBA will be on ABC right after the game. This says generally begin on ESPN immediately following the conclusion of the NBA Finals. That's the huge deal that for us that cover media, in the media, that wondering now having these guys involved in the NBA Finals for the first time, how big a deal that's going to be. But it looks like the Inside will be on ESPN. So for everyone working the 10 o'clock news, only marginally late, not really late, because I'm anticipating what ESPN's going to do is have Inside the NBA, then go into Van Pelt's Sports Center afterwards. So that's a little inside baseball there on the NBA Finals. Also into the inbox, shout out to the Bison soccer team. Their schedule is out for this upcoming fall already, which includes the University of Minnesota coming to Fargo, which anytime that happens, that's a huge deal. The Gophers will play the Bison on August the 20th. Washington State will also be coming to Fargo for a soccer match. I believe the Bison went to Washington State last year, so that's maybe the back end of a home-and-home there. The league is obviously different with Denver now gone. Denver officially leaves a month from today. July 1, they are now members of the West Coast Conference, and the Summit League goes to 8 schools. So now that means, at least for this upcoming year, NDSU is going to play USD, UND, and SDSU twice in league play. Typically, they only played once, and it was spread out depending on the rotation of who you got at home, who you got on the road. But now that's different going down to 8. Obviously, basketball-wise, doesn't change much other than the fact you lose 2 games that you somehow got to fill. It also changes, I believe, the structure of the Summit League tournament for basketball, because the last few years we've had that play-in game or games to whoever won played the 1 seed. Bison women were involved in that, and the men this past year. That, I imagine, the Summit League tournament goes back to now being a 4-day event instead of 5. I'm not sure how much extra revenue they got out of those games, but Midco liked it because they got 2 extra games to televise, but that now evidently goes away. Last thing before we do what to watch, I got this sent to me over the weekend. The Red Hawks were in Sioux Falls this weekend to play the Canaries. Sioux Falls evidently brought out this uniform combo again with the flannel tank top look. Like, what? What are we doing here? I don't even know where to start here. The pants is another thing, too. I mean, I know we got to get people in the seats, but holy cow, that's a different look. Canaries lost yesterday to the Hawks, who avoided getting swept there. Red Hawks are heading their way to Kansas City. You know what? Tip of the cap to Sioux Falls for trying something out of the box, but we may just put that one with those the futuristic MLB jerseys back in 1999 that weren't any good. Google Mercury Mets if you're looking for a laugh today. Let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right, what to watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. We got the Twins in action tonight against the White Sox, 6:30 on Twins TV for Game 1 of that set. We got the Women's College World Series resuming today, right at the top of the hour. Texas and Tennessee, 11 a.m. on ESPN. Texas wins. We get a winner-take-all right after that at about 1:30. As I mentioned, college baseball, we following that. How about Milwaukee? Let's go Panthers. They play Auburn tonight on ESPNU. That'll wrap up our show. Thanks so much to Caden Nelson, to Jeff Kolpack, and to Aiden Green for joining us. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay of our show and all of our past shows on WDAY+. Have a great Monday, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow.